Hey Book Dragons, I am back. So I'm here to wrap up the last couple of books that I read in April. I will be honest, I have been having a bit of a funky reading year so far, and I think I identified the issue. I am reading way too slowly for me to actually enjoy what I'm reading. I know that sounds weird, but I normally read a book like 1 to 2 books a week, and at this point I'm barely reading 1 book a week, and it's going so slow. And I just think because I've been having so much else going on. Last year was super different. Last year was a lot of like personal stuff. This stuff is just like busyness and chaotic and stuff not going my way, and when I get home I don't want to read. So it's just been like different, and I've just been struggling with like that balance. Like I've just had a hard time like turning my brain off, sitting down, reading, and honestly TV shows are just a little bit more escapism right now for me. But I did wind up reading 15 books in the month of April. I'm going to chat through the last couple that I read. So yeah, we are going to do stats. Again, I always try to do a mid-month wrap-up. Honestly, I don't know if May's going to get a mid-month wrap-up. But the stats for April is I read 15 books for a total page count of 4,411. An average page count a day was 147. Page count of books was 294. I did read some graphic novels and shorter things. My most read genre was fantasy, which your girl loves that always. I read 3 books with rep, 12 from authors I read before, and 3 books hauled. And I read 2 5-star, 2 4.5-star, 5 4-star, 5 3.5-star, and for an average rating of 3.77. I read 4 new releases, 7 backlists, 4 from last year. I read 4 physical books, 8 audio, 0 mixed media, and 3 ebook. I started 2 series. I continued in 5, and I read 1 companion, which is very exciting. I read 5 middle grade, 4 young adult, and 6 adult, which is pretty much what I normally read. 3 arcs, 2 from Audible, 4 from the library, 1 from NetGalley, 5 owned, and 0 from Everand. And then I read 1 nonfiction, 7 fantasy, 2 romance, 2 manga, and 3 mystery. So that is where we are with the stats. And now let's get into the books. Yeah, I definitely did have a solid, it was a fun end of the month. It just felt like it went by so fast. This time is going by so fast. And maybe it's because I'm in show deadline and like everything just feels a little bit chaotic to my brain right now. Maybe that's what it is. So the first book I read was an arc, and it's not even out yet. But I read Lady Night by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, and this is such a fun read. If you like The Knight's Tale, I think you should pick this book up. It is about a lady who is, like, basically they're having a joust competition in medieval England, or medieval wherever they are. And she is the prize in this competition, and a former blacksmith's daughter, or like I think it's like a blacksmith. Is it a blacksmith? Yeah. A blacksmith's daughter decides to enter this competition, and they may have a romance. It's really, really fun. It's really, really cute. I think I would have loved this more on audio, which is why I got like 4.75 stars, but on like audio, I think it will be a 5-star read. I had such a fun time with this. I love Amy Kaufman, her writing style, and I think this book was just so effortlessly queer. Like, I think I said this about Mary Lou when I read another book of hers. Like, these books are just so effortlessly queer. Like, I feel like this is the world I want to live in, where queerness is just accepted. And I just had such a fun time with this book. It was funny. It was witty. It was a quick adventure. I did not want to put this book down. And I think I will love it even more on audio. But I had such a fun time with this book. And I really hope we get a sequel in this series, because I had such a fun time. And yeah, if you like The Knight's Tale, but you want a sapphic romance, I would pick this book up. So yeah, for sure. And then the next book that I read was another fantasy book. This book actually does not come out for a while. I read an arc of The Sleepless by Jen Williams. It comes out in September. I'm going to attach a photo here. This is a fantasy romance about this girl who is in the woods, and she winds up having to go on a quest for something, and she winds up meeting up with this guy who is sort of like, he has kind of like a split personality. Someone like kind of lives inside him, and he's out in the day, and the other creature's out in the evening, and they have to kind of like share a body, and they have to kind of go on this quest. It's very, very creature focused, very, very mythology focused, And I really liked the first half of the story. I thought that the romance was fun, the characters were fun, but as we progressed, my interest waned a little bit and I lost my focus, which has been happening this whole month. So I don't know if it's a book issue. I may give it another shot when it comes out in like later in the year and see if I'm just having a better reading life at the moment. But I gave it 3.75 stars and I did like it enough. I just don't think I loved it, but it was fun. I wouldn't say this is a fan row. I think it's more of a fantasy with romantic elements. There is like a love triangle dynamic and I would read more books in this series in the future, but it just didn't like hit it out of the park for me. So I gave that book like 3.75 stars. And then I read Live and Let Pie by Ellie Alexander, which was the 10th book in the Big Shot Mystery series. And I really like this book. I really like this book and I gave it 4 stars on audio. This was another book set in the little town, and it also had a cold case element. So there was 2 murders you were trying to solve that were kind of like interconnected. And I had a fun time with this book. Again, these books are just so fun. It also had a very interesting chat about like decisions in life and like what you should do with your life and how life looks differently for everyone, for some of the side characters. And I had a super fun time with it and I gave it 4 stars. It's a very, very quick read and one that I had an enjoyable experience with. And then I read, Listen to The Bewitching Hour by Ashley Poston. This is a Tara prequel, and this is a 3.75 stars. I literally felt like I was reading a TV show, and that is sort of the point of all of these books. Like, it was just a fun listen, a quick listen. I don't think I felt that connected to the characters, but it was fun. I like seeing Tara in the past, and it was just a fun mystery story, and I would definitely read more in the Buffyverse, as always. And then I did wind up finishing, this is really not going to be that long, I did wind up finishing The Language of Ghosts by Heather Fawcett, and this I gave 4 stars to. This was a, just like a middle grade story, but I had a really, really fun time with it. It was about this character who, her brother was kind of ousted from his country. They had to go on the run. They had to go to this new country and kind of take it over, and they're kind of dealing with the fact that their new country is being like, being like overrun, and they have a lot of political issues happening, and the characters were fun. It was a really, really fun time, and it was a quick read. Again, I kind of noticed for the second half of this month that I was struggling with focus. I even picked up this book, A Beautiful and Terrible Murder by Claire M. Manders, and I put it down because I couldn't stay focused on it. So it's been a bit of a rougher reading month, and I just really want to kickstart myself, but I don't know if that's going to happen with everything that's happening in my life. Like, I need like a true reset, and I don't know if that's gonna happen until like June. But so that was a really, really short wrap up. I didn't read a ton more, but I wanted to get it done. What I did, honestly, I have been deeply obsessed with The Last of Us. It feels like the whole month, and Bella Ramsey especially. I've watched a lot of stuff about Bella Ramsey, so it's been like a very very Bella Ramsey heavy month, and I sometimes do these where I do like an actor deep dive. So I rewatched in the first half of April, I rewatched like a bunch of seasons of The Big Bang Theory, and then as we got closer to the end of April, I started like moving on to my binge watching of Bella Ramsey content. So I rewatched The Last of Us season 1, sort of. I did like my favorite scenes, which was like very, very cherry picked. I really want to do a full rewatch, but I'm waiting until I have a lot more time to devote to that. I watched The Dark Side of Kinfluencing, which was very, very interesting. That was not a social media aspect that I ever followed growing up, but I found it super interesting. And then I watched Bella Ramsey in Time, which is a very, very underrated series about the British prison system. And then I watched Catherine Cole Birdie, which is a very, very Ella Enchanted-esque movie that she was in. And then I watched the first and second season of The Dark Materials because Bella Ramsey's in the second season. I didn't wind up finishing it, but I did start it. And then I watched Pulse, which is a medical drama on Netflix. So I watched that, and now I am watching The Resident. I will be very, very honest. All I have been doing is watching The Last of Us on a loop. So I feel like May, in addition to my show, is just going to be a full Last of Us content, which is fine. So yeah, this is a very, very short wrap up. I really thought I would have read more, and I'm just struggling with focus. So I'm gonna hope that this is a thing of like better things to come, but May is always my craziest month. So yeah. But I'm hoping to kick it. I really just want to like sit down and read when I get home from work, but my brain is always on like 75 other things and it's hard. But let me know in the comments what was your favorite book of the month. If I had to choose from the books I read in the second half of the month, I think I definitely liked Lady Night the most. So I'm going to put that in the pile. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you have read and really, really liked. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.